Mr. President, we appreciate the Secretary General for presenting important reports under this agenda item, which highlight how member states can work together to strengthen humanitarian and disaster relief assistance. The Secretary General's reports on safety and security of UN personnel has rightly pointed out that the divides in political, economic, social, technological, and environmental spheres and their intersection has unfolded a humanitarian crisis of epic proportions and decelerated progress towards achieving the 2030 agenda. Conflicts have reached levels not seen since 1945, affecting nearly 300.5 million people in need of humanitarian assistance and protection. Pakistan commends and supports the work of UN aid agencies and personnel for their efforts in responding to humanitarian emergencies globally. We pay tribute to the unyielding determination of UNRWA to conduct life-saving work in Gaza, despite 228 of its staff members having been killed by Israeli forces. UNRWA premises are under deliberate attack, and people who have sought refuge inside those premises are bombarded. We offer our deepest condolences to all the families, friends, and colleagues of staff members of UNRWA who have lost their lives since 7 October 2023. Pakistan strongly condemns the Israeli attempts to dismantle the operations of UNRWA in flagrant violation of the UN Charter, international law, provisional measures set out by the ICJ, and the Court's advisory opinion of 19 July 2024. Pakistan stands in resolute solidarity with the Palestinian people and reaffirms its unwavering support for UNRWA's humanitarian mission rooted in General Assembly Resolution 302 of 1949, which mandates the agency to carry out direct relief work for Palestinians pending a just solution to their plight in accordance with GA Resolution 194. UNRWA remains essential to protecting this right and delivering essential services to refugees across the region. Mr. President, while taking note of Secretary General's report on assistance to the Palestinian people, we consider that humanitarian situation in Gaza is a major challenge for international community and a true test for effectiveness of multilateral institutions, including the UN. For over 400 days, the Palestinian people have faced a dire and rapidly worsening humanitarian situation in the face of unrestrained Israeli aggression that has claimed the lives of more than 44,000 Palestinian civilians and caused widespread destruction in the besieged Gaza Strip. Some 70% of the victims are children and women. While the death toll is rising due to the daily atrocity crimes being committed by the Israeli regime against the innocent Palestinian people, hospitals, mosques, churches, schools, and other civilian infrastructure have also not been spared. We call upon all countries to act urgently to put an end to the crimes being committed by the Israeli occupation forces against the Palestinian people and to implement the interim measures ordered by the ICJ, as well as the reversal without delay of Israel's unlawful occupation of Palestinian territory. It remains incumbent on all states not to assist in the maintenance of the illegal situation created by Israel in the occupied Palestinian territory. Mr. President, climate change is one of the most exceptional challenges confronted by humankind. Reflecting on the past 12 months, we have seen drought, floods, cyclone, heat waves, increased temperatures, and other intense weather events with devastating impacts, including on livelihoods, food insecurity, health, disease outbreaks, and displacement. Successive climate-related shocks and extreme weather events in many regions have become more intense and frequent, reducing the capacities of countries and communities to recover and hampering progress towards achieving the SDGs. Disasters disproportionately affected women and children, older persons, persons with disabilities, displaced persons, poor and other marginalized people, the least developed countries, and countries experiencing protracted conflicts and erode their resilience to future shocks. In the last few years, Pakistan has also faced unprecedented humanitarian emergencies arising from natural disasters and climate-related events. The flash floods of 2022 across Pakistan created substantial economic losses, casualties, infrastructure damage, and rehabilitation costs. Given recurrent natural catastrophes, Pakistan has been ranked as one of the top 10 countries most affected by climate change, despite being one of the lowest emitters. Mr. President, unprecedented global humanitarian challenges requires unprecedented international solidarity. For this, first, root causes of humanitarian emergencies should be addressed, ranging from foreign occupation to climate action. Second, implementation of international humanitarian law must be strengthened. The humanitarian principles of humanity, neutrality, impartiality, and independence should be respected in all circumstances. There should be zero tolerance of violation of humanitarian principles, and enforcement of Geneva Conventions must be ensured in conflict situations, including situations of foreign occupation in Palestine and Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Third, resources for humanitarian assistance, which are compatible with humanitarian needs on the ground, should be mobilized. Financing for humanitarian assistance should be mobilized from all sources and channels, public and private. With the involvement of international financial institutions, new and innovative financing mechanisms must also be devised. Fourth, in humanitarian emergencies, millions of people face multidimensional poverty and food insecurity. The international community must demonstrate solidarity in line with the principle of responsibility and burden sharing by addressing the causes of multidimensional poverty. Finally, member states, UN agencies, and humanitarian organizations should scale up their efforts to prevent, mitigate, and respond to the disasters, including the humanitarian impacts of climate change, and accelerate adaptation and resilience building efforts through humanitarian preparedness and response, strengthening early warning action systems, and systemic risk reduction approaches. In this regard, we call upon member states to support implementation of Secretary General's Early Warning for All initiative and its executive action plan to ensure that everyone is protected by multi-hazard early warning systems by 2027. Mr. President, the humanitarian crises which the world faces today are existential threats. Without addressing these crises, we can neither protect our current generations nor will we be able to safeguard the well-being of our future generations. The clock is ticking and the time to act is now. I thank you very much.